Now, obviously, Trump has spoken about China for decades. He wants fair trade, but I'm not sure if he actually really sees them as an existential threat in the way that Sean talks about sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, like a month ago, I believe he spoke favorably about the potential for Chinese FDI in the US.
Yeah.
And this kind of really goes in the face of the posture of people like Marco Rubio or Vance or even
Yeah.
Bannon. So I just
Yeah.
kind of wanted your opinion on that, on how
Jonathan,
you
yeah,
think Trump looks at China.
it's a brilliant question because if you take everything he said about China on the public record, if you take his general attitude towards countries that are evildoers and his willingness to deal with them, and you take his kind of priorities on the use of military force, tech, etc., I think you couldn't help but be confused about the answer to your question because he does not seem attitudinally at all like a Cold Warrior. Like this is an existential struggle. And he wakes up every day saying, what's China doing? How are we going to checkmate them? And there's even talk that he would do a deal on Taiwan. So I don't blame you for being confused. And I think it's one of the most you've asked, I think, one of the most important questions on the planet right now. Sean.
Um, so Jonathan, as you were talking, I started to think back to our discussion on Monday after Bill Maher's comments this weekend, and the comments that I made after that were that Donald Trump believes that he can get a deal with anybody. He is the consummate deal maker. That tell me the problem, get him in the room with me, I'll get a deal. And I think that's how he approaches China. I differ on China and Iran because I don't believe that there's ever a deal that you can strike with either of those two. I think they are existential threats to well-being. They will say whatever they have to say. They seek domination and destruction. And so, I know that there are disparate voices in our party that believe differently, even on the issue of Iran. That splits the White House right now as far as who believes we can get a deal. I am one that does not believe you'll ever get a deal with Iran that is worth anything. That they don't want it, we can't believe it. And I believe that China is in the same bucket. That this idea of trying to pacify them, whether it's climate change and John Kerry walking over there thinking somehow they care, or going back to their accession into the WTO in 2000, believing somehow that they would see the light on capitalism, has just been one failure after another of us misunderstanding what China's ultimate goal is. There is a book that many people, this chat, my show, have said Michael Pillsbury wrote this book about China. I urge everyone. I took the advice, much like we've took the advice on going to see the podcast on the All In podcast on Howard and Scott Bassett. It's eye opening, and so I believe that you can't get a deal with them. I know the president believes he can get a deal with anyone, and I think that's just a difference in approach.
Dan, anything you want to add?
I think it's an outstanding question.
Yeah. Jonathan, thank you. Very grateful to you for coming on.